Hi, I'm Jenny Giles, President and Founder of Community Equipped.
Hi, I'm Heather Moreland, Consultant with Community Equipped.
This video is about engaging your board in fundraising. Board members always cringe when it comes time to talk about fundraising. That's normal. But we're going to discuss some ways to engage every single board member and understand what their responsibilities are when it comes to fundraising, how you can recruit the right board members to help with your fundraising, and how you can foster and develop a culture of giving and philanthropy among your board.
Let's talk about the board roles and responsibilities when it comes to fundraising. Every board has a legal fiduciary responsibility to ensure that the organization's resources, like money, staff, space, are used to pursue the organization's mission. Fundraising is a shared responsibility. It's not just for staff. It requires active board involvement. The board's financial responsibility is to the budget as a whole, which includes both the expense side and the revenue side. Most boards are comfortable monitoring the expense side of the budget, but often don't know how to monitor, contribute to, and support the revenue side of the budget. Your board should have a balanced approach, focusing on how the money is spent and how the money is raised.
Recruiting the right board members is critical for the health of your board and your organization. And as you're recruiting board members, you're going to be filling different needs, maybe an accountant, a lawyer, someone from a bank, from investment, maybe program evaluation. There's a whole variety of needs that you have for your board. But fundraising and participating in fundraising should be a requirement of every single board member. So it's important to include your expectations of what that looks like for every board member during the recruitment process. So there are three things to keep in mind when you're recruiting board members and helping them understand what the expectations are for participating in fundraising. First, be very honest about it. Don't try to dance around the topic or make it sound easier than it is just to convince them to join your board. Second, be firm about your expectations. Be consistent about your expectations and build in ways into the everyday board life and work that will hold every board member accountable for participating in fundraising. Third, be flexible about your expectations. This may sound contrary to what I just said about being firm, but every board member has different skills, personalities, networks, and things to offer in your fundraising program. So find ways for every board member to contribute in a way that is the right fit for them. Your poor, terrified accountant is never going to be comfortable networking and making that direct ask. So find ways for them to participate that are a good fit for them. If you have real estate agents on your board who are much more comfortable in a sales environment, they're going to be comfortable with that direct ask. So let every board member participate in the way that is right for them. Onboarding and orienting your new board members is critical to their successful start on your organization's board and getting them involved in fundraising. Here are a few of our favorite tips for doing this.
One of the most important things I think you should focus on when onboarding a new board member is to be open and transparent about their fundraising responsibilities. This can head off problems that may present themselves later on.
So one of my favorite tips is to have every new board member meet one-on-one with your director of development or whichever staff member is leading your fundraising efforts. This gives the new board member a chance to privately express concerns or fears or maybe areas where they're lacking a little bit of confidence when it comes to fundraising. And then the development staff can encourage them, can demystify it, can make it simple and not scary, and help the new board member know exactly what assets they have and strengths that they have that can contribute positively to the fundraising efforts.
That's a really great tip, Jenny. The next thing that I think would be helpful is to pair a new board member with an existing board member. This gives them an opportunity to learn the role while observing an existing board member and also to ask questions. This mentoring helps them acclimate themselves to their responsibilities on the board.
So it's pretty much common knowledge that every board member is expected to make a donation to their organization every year. Why does that matter? First and foremost, when every board member gives, they're setting the tone that investing in the organization matters. And if you are a board member who doesn't want to invest in the organization, I would maybe consider, is this board the right fit for you? The second reason that it matters is that often foundations and funders will ask the question on a grant proposal, does 100% of your board donate? And it could just be a drop box answer, yes or no. And there's not room to explain the answer. There's not room to say, oh, we have 99%. It's a yes or no. So making that financial gift is extremely important. So one of the questions that I get from almost every client is, what actually counts as board giving? And to answer this question, I really look at the spirit of giving. So when you're answering the question, does 100% of our board give? You really want to have a board that is cheerfully giving. And what I say is that every board member should give in the amount that is right for them and their family, and in the amount that represents the organization as a charitable priority. That amount is different for every board member. There has been a common practice on boards where there is a minimum giving amount. Your board may decide to do that. That is a more common practice for organizations, maybe like arts organizations or organizations where really the purpose of the board is to have high-profile, well-known community members on the board who are able to give large gifts. For an organization that is serving maybe a lower income community and really wants to have community members on their board, having that minimum giving amount is not the right fit, because that may prevent people of different income levels from serving on your board. Yet their expertise and knowledge of the community and what the community needs is vital, and you don't want to miss out on that. So again, to go back to what counts as board giving, sometimes organizations will ask me if a board member purchases a ticket to an event, will that count? If they make an in-kind donation, will that count? And again, I go back to what is the spirit of giving. In my opinion, the board giving that matters is a board member who is writing that personal check. That gift, that financial gift that comes directly from them is what counts as board giving. Of course, there are other ways that board members contribute other than just a straight financial gift, but that straight financial gift is what should count as the board giving. So in addition to tracking how much the board is giving financially, tracking the ways that the board is contributing to the overall health of the organization is also important. So this would include things like in-kind gifts, donated services, purchasing tickets to an event, leveraging their network to get sponsorships, bringing in volunteers. All of this really has an impact on the financial health and efficiency of the organization. So when you're reporting out the impact that your board is having on the organization, report to them how much they've given in straight financial donations and then how much they've leveraged, because that second number is going to be huge. And it's important to acknowledge all the ways that a board is contributing to the health and well-being of your organization. One of my favorite tools for engaging board members in fundraising activities and reporting that progress back to them is using a board commitment form or board engagement form. Every board member will complete this every year. At the top, they enter how much they expect to donate financially. And this provides one collective goal for the board as a whole that you can use in planning your fundraising, but then also report the progress out to the board at every meeting so they know how they're doing on their board giving. On the rest of the form, list a whole bunch of ways that board members can support revenue generating or fundraising activities. These things may include simply they're being willing to handwrite some thank you letters. Maybe you would have a board member call first-time donors to leave a thank you voicemail. Maybe you have a board member collect other appeal letters that they find inspiring to share those with the development staff. The options are endless, but the point of this form is to provide each board member with specialized ways that they can contribute to the fundraising activities. And then it gives you a way to report back to the board just how much of an impact they're having.
Let's talk about the role of the development committee and how it grows as your organization grows. When you start small, your development committee may have 2 or 3 members. Typically, that's your board chair and 2 board members that have experience with development or fundraising. Their role is to keep the board engaged and aware of all fundraising activities. As your organization grows, your development committee may grow as well. It can grow with additional board members, but it's also an opportunity to bring on volunteers who have helpful expertise. I also find marketing professionals and real estate agents to be great development committee members. A development committee's responsibilities should be clearly defined. The development committee leads in a way that is fostering a culture of fundraising amongst the board. Additionally, the development committee leads the way in board giving, engages the board in fundraising activities, approves and monitors the fundraising strategy, and keeps the board updated on fundraising initiatives and performance.
Engaging your board in fundraising is exciting. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. Board members are volunteers and are often major donors. They are usually the people who are most excited about your organization other than staff. So getting your board involved and working with them on fundraising should be exciting and fun, but it's often up to you to build that excitement and that positive energy and culture when working with your board and fundraising.